Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of file handling in Python programming. So in last lecture, we have already started with the file handling concept. In last session, in previous video, we have started the concept file handling in Python. That means if we want to handle file, if we want to import file, make changes to the file, create new file, then we can use the file handling methods in Python programming. So in that lecture, we have seen the basic types of file. Text file, we have seen the text file in detail. In today's lecture, we are going to see every file type in detail, its operations, which methods are going to be used to handle such type of files. Now first we will start with the text file. Now when it comes to the text file, you need to understand the text file format very well. First of all, how the text file is created. Uh, in Python, whenever we are connecting this file to the Python program, we usually use the notepad, right? So if you want to create the file explicitly, then you open the notepad, you write down some content to the file, you save that file with particular name with the extension .txt. That will be your text file. Now after this file, after you are creating this file, you can handle or you can import this file in the Python program, and then you can read from the file or you can write to the file. So in last lecture we have seen three basic types: text file, binary file and comma separated file, that is CSV file, which we are going to handle in the Python. We will start with the text file. Now when it comes to the normal text file, the content of normal text file, before using any function of text file or binary or CSV, you need to understand how the characters are going to be read, or how the character or the content of the file is considered. Whenever you write any text, now this is the text, this is the text, okay? So this is text, this line is already there in the text file. Now suppose data is my text file name, data1.txt. this file is saved in my computer, right? And whenever you are considering the characters, you must consider all the characters including white space. You are going to consider each and every character that you need to remember while operating with this file. Now we will consider the working with the text file, that is operation on text file. So basically there are three operations which we have already seen in the last lecture: reading from the file, writing to the file and appending to the file. Now appending and writing is the same, only the mode is different, but the operation is same, right? So basically there are two operations we are going to perform with each file: text file, binary file and CSV file. So in text file, your first operation is reading from the file. How you are reading the content from the file? How will you know what is the content of the file? You are copying the content in particular variable, and then you are going to print that variable in the Python program, so that whatever content you are reading from the file, that will be displayed in the output window. So that is basically the reading from the file. Because see, when you are handling any file, you need to understand the fact you are not viewing the file, you are not seeing the file actually directly, you are not able to see the file. You can see the file through your Python program, right? You don't know what is the content in your file, whether the file is blank or something is written on the file. No, you don't know that unless you are reading the content from the file. So first you need to read the content. You are copying the content into some variable, right? And then you are just printing that variable value in the Python program so that all that content will be displayed in the output window. So that is first, which is reading from the file, and second one is the writing. Now while writing to the file, just the reverse procedure, that first you are placing the content which is to be written on the file. That content will be in some variable, and then that variable will be written down. That will be that will be a part of your file using write method, right? So these are the two operations of text file. First we will see the reading file. Now when you are reading from the file, there are three methods. First is the read. Just read. Okay, read and parenthesis, right? Here this could be empty parenthesis, or you can just mention the n. Read method. Read is the built-in method in Python which is used in the file handling to read the content of the file. So it has to be written like this exactly. The parenthesis could be empty, or you can mention the parameter n. N means number of bytes. Okay, n means number of bytes you are reading from the file. Now what are the bytes? What are the bytes? Bytes are the character which you are reading from the file. So n number means, suppose you have mentioned n as 30. Here 30 you have mentioned. So from the first location, that first pointer, you are reading first 30 characters, first 30 bytes from that file, and then you will display those content or that 30 characters. If you don't mention n, then by default your whole file will be read. If you don't mention the n value, nothing, empty parenthesis, then the whole file will be read. So first is the read the file. Second is the read line. Read line, only line. Okay, read line means you are reading the content line by line. Here also the parenthesis could be empty, or you can mention number of lines. Now for read line, n is for number of lines. Okay, if you are using read, just read, then n depicts the number of bytes. If you are using read line n, then number of lines, then 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, etc. That. And if you are not mentioning the n value here, if you are not giving the n value, by default first line will be read. Okay, first line you are reading line by line, so first line will be read. And then third is the read lines. This will be empty. Don't confuse between read line and read lines. Here read line means you are reading line by line, and when you are using read lines means you are reading whole content. All the lines in the file will be read by using the read lines method. So you might be confused between read and read lines, because if you don't give the n value here, in this method also you are reading the whole content of the file. With read lines method, again you are reading the whole content of the file. So what is the difference? The difference is the output. Here all the content of the file will be taken as one string, and that will be displayed differently. Okay, and when you are using the read lines, all the lines will be taken as lines only, as it is just like written in your file. That difference, you can identify that difference when you do program with these methods in the practical session. So For now, we'll just look for these three methods line by line. First, we are going to see the read and method. So read and method, how we are using this method, how we are using it. In last session we have discussed that you are creating file object or file handle, right? Why you are creating file object? To get access of the file and to use all these methods in the Python program, because there are no different methods. These methods can be accessed as a file methods, file handling methods only. For that, first you need to create the file object, and using that file object you are calling the read function or any other function from the for the file handling. So the syntax is syntax for read method. So assume that you have already created the file object and the name is file object. You can give any other name. I am giving the file object or file object name, whatever it is. So file object dot operator, you are calling all the methods using dot operator and then read. That's it. That is the syntax. File object or file handle dot operator read, and whatever content you are reading, that content will be placed in any kind of variable name. That variable name will be user defined. So suppose str, you can take any other name as you want. So str equal to file object dot read. That means the file object you have created before in the first line of your program, with that file object you are calling the read method, and whatever content you are reading, in this case you are not mentioning the n value. So at a time by default whole content of the file will be read and that content will be stored in str, and after that when you print str like this, in output window that content, whatever content you are reading from here, that content will be displayed in the output window. So that is the syntax of read method. So suppose I want to read the first 15 characters from the file, from the content. Okay. So here I am mentioning 15 value, 15 bytes, right, or 15 characters including white space, any special characters, comma or full stop, anything else. So that will be counted as well. First 15 characters will be read and then that content will be displayed in the output window. Suppose I want to read the next content, right? I have already read the first 15 bytes from the content. I will store that into str and I will print that str. So I know that this is the first line, or these are the first 15 characters from my file. Now I want to read the next 20 characters. For that I am creating the another variable. Suppose str2, string 2, string will be considered. Okay, string will be created and in that string your whole content will be saved. So str2, again by using the same file object, here file object, okay, dot operator, and then again using the same function read 20. So what will happen, in the first 15 characters will be read, right? The pointer will be at the 15 character. Then it will be printed in the output window. Then I am taking the second string str2 which read the next 20 character, right? So next 20 characters will be stored in str2, and when I am using the print function str2, then the next 20 characters will be taken and printed in the output window. So that's how you are going to read from the file. Second method is read line. Read line. Here you can just mention how many lines you are going to read from the file, or if you don't mention anything, by default first line will be read and printed, and then if you are reading the line one by one, then you can call this read line function as many times as you want to display the content one by one. So just like read function, how to call the readline function, the syntax is same. Assume that you have already created the file object. The viewers who are watching this video first, before this video, please watch the previous video, which is the introduction of file handling in Python, because in that I have mentioned or I have explained that how to create the file object. That is the basic. First understand that concept and then come to this advanced part, otherwise you won't able to understand this. Now read line. Assume that file object is already created. So here same thing, you can consider any string to store the value. So string, and then this is your file object, dot operator, read line. Read line. So here suppose I am mentioning 2. So first 2 lines will be read. Okay, first line, then second line. If I am not giving the line number, thus the brackets are empty, then by default first line will be read. So this is your read line function, nothing different, just instead of read we are using the read line, and line will be considered as your content, and then you are just printing those content in the output window, print str, that's it. So whatever line you have read, suppose 2 lines you have read, so in the output window those 2 lines will be printed in the list format. Then the third method, I am making changes here, or the third method is read lines. Now read lines doesn't have any parameter or argument value. Why? Because by default it is used to read the whole file, all the content or all the lines from the file. So read lines, that means all lines we are reading. The difference between read and read lines, that in read, if you are displaying line by line, I will show that with the example, all the contents will be taken and printed as one string, continuous form. But if you want the content of the file to be displayed as it is, then you must use the read lines function. Now let's see one example using all these 3 methods, so that you will understand how you can call or how you can use all these 3 functions, methods to read the file, and how the output will be displayed. So this is the file. Okay, here suppose file1 is the name of the file, file1.txt. This notepad file is already exists in my computer in the same folder where all your Python files are stored. This is very important, that where your files, notepad files are stored. Why? Because while opening that file you must know that whether you are giving the name of the file only or you are giving the full path. Because if this file is saved outside the folder, okay, first when you install any Python application such as Python or Anaconda application, by default in that folder all your Python files will be saved, right? So if you are creating these notepad files in the same folder where all your Python files are stored, then you can give the name of the file only. You don't need to give the full path of the file, because the file, this file, text file, is located in the same folder. But if you are saving this file which you are accessing in the outside, means outside that folder, suppose in another drive or another folder in the same drive, then you must give the complete path of the file. That is the different concept which I am going to cover in the separate session. But for now, just assume that this file1.txt is located in the same folder in which all your Python files are saved. So here I have already created the file1.txt in the same folder, and I have written some content in the file, so that content will be read. So for starting, when we start with the Python program, first we need to create the file object. Now file object or file handle is the user defined name, so you can give the any other name except the keywords in the Python. So suppose I am giving name my object. My object is the name. You can give name whichever name you want. My object is your file object, right? Then you are opening the file. How to open the file? Again, go to the previous video for a clear understanding. Otherwise, I am taking the revision in this. Object name, file object name, open function. Open is the function to open any file. Then name of the file. Name of the file is file1.txt. So in single or double quote, give the name of the file file1.txt, comma, enclose the file name. Always enclose the file name or full path of the file in single or double quote, otherwise error will be there. And then mode of the file. In which mode you are opening the file? There are 3 modes. Actually there are 6 modes, but we basically use the 3 modes: read, write, append, R plus, W plus, A plus, right? So since we are reading the file, we are using the read mode, which is R, right? Write, if you want to write to the file, then you must use the W for writing, and for appending A. This mode is should also enclosed within the single or double quote, so that the compiler will understand. If you don't provide the mode, by default the file will be opened in the read mode. But if you want, you can explicitly write the mode as well. The second rule: if you are trying to open the file using read mode, the file should exist in the computer system. If the file is not exist, then you will get the error that the certain file, this file1.txt is not there in your computer system. So you need to create the file first. It is not with the same with the write mode and append mode. When you open the file in the write mode, then if the file is not exist, then the file will be automatically created. Now here your object is created. What happened here? You have opened the file file1.txt and you give all the access of this file to the my object. Now whatever function you are using, whatever methods you are using, such as read, read lines, whichever methods, those methods will be accessed by your file object or file handling only. In this, you are done with opening your file. Now here I am reading the content of the file. I need one variable, string variable. So str1 will be my string variable, and I am opening the file using my object, file object, my object dot read method. Okay, and now for read method I am giving the value 15, suppose 15. Okay, and then I'm just printing the str1, print str1. So in the output window, what will be printed? The content of the file should be printed. You are calling the read method for first 15 characters. So just see which are the first 15 characters. And as I said before, you need to consider the white space, full stop and any special characters you are using in the file, because that is also character. Now first 15 characters, 1, 2, 3, 4. The space is fifth. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Till I. This is your 15. I am counting that again. Just you will start with the first character T. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I is your 15th character. So in output window, that the content up to I will be stored in your str1 and then str1 will be printed. So your output will be the content till I. This is text and file will not be completely there because we are stopping at the 15th character. So I will be there and that's it. So only this content will be printed, not the whole line. So this is my first output. So then I will take the another variable str2. Again, by using the same object, you can create the another object also for a different mode. My object dot read, and suppose after this I want to read the 20 characters, so I will mention the 20 and then I am just printing str2. This is very important, 20. So next 20 characters. Now you are already here, so you will start your counting from this L. Then you will start the count. 1, 2, full stop is there, so that will be your third character. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20th character is N, not full stop, just N. So that will be your next line. So from L, LE, from L, LE, full stop, then welcome to Python. Full stop won't be there because full stop will be 21st character, which we can't take. Only 20 characters are there. So this will be my second line which will be printed. And if I don't give the parameter value here, then after 15 the whole content will be read till your end of the file. But since I want to read the content one by one, then you must decide that how many characters you want to read. So this is the basic program to handle or to read from the normal text file. Now this is for the read function, read method. Then we will see the read line. So I will just rub it out and then we will see how the read line actually works. Same thing, same as we are using with our read function. Here I am taking the same file object. My object is equal to open file1.txt. One thing I missed in the previous program, that to close the file, that I am not going to forget in this. You are opening the file in the read mode, then just take one string, any name you want except keyword, and then your file object, file my object dot read line, read line, right? Then just print the read line in the output window, print str. After you are done with all the operations and methods, you need to close the file as well. So my object, your my object dot close function, just like you open the function using open method, open the file using open method, you need to close the file as well. So by using the close function or method, you are closing the file. So what will be the output? str read line, you are reading the first line by default because you didn't give the parameter value here how many lines you want to print, so or read. So by default the first line, this is the text file. In this case your output will be this is text file, your first line will be read. Then suppose I want to read 3 lines from the content. So here I am giving 3. Now you are calling the readline method and you are giving the value as 3. That means you are printing, you are reading the first 3 lines. So here first line is already there. This is text file that I have written. Then your second line, welcome to Python. Welcome to Python. And your third line, learn file handling. So this will be your output for this method. So here as you can see, the first 3 lines are printed in the output window. So that is the functionality of read line. Now the third one is the read lines. For read lines you don't need to mention the parameter or argument value, just the empty parameters, because you are reading the complete file line by line. So if you are using the read method only without any parameter, again you are reading the whole content, but how your output will be displayed? Your Python or any application output window is like the horizontal one. So it doesn't matter that this is the next line, this is the next line. If the space is there, your whole content will be considered as one string and it will be displayed continuously in the read function. But if you want to display this content as it is written in the file, then if you are calling the readlines method, then it will be printed as it is. That I will show you in the practical session. So the first process is the reading from the file, reading from the text file. Actually 3 methods are there: read, readline, readlines. Then we are going ahead with the next functionality, next process, which is writing to the file, writing to the text file. Writing to the text file, there are 2 methods which are being used to write to the text file. First is the write method, write, and then second is the write lines. Here you need to provide the lines method, and for the write method you need to pass one string, because to write to the file first you need the content in some data structure, in some container, which is our variable. So this variable will be declared first in the Python program. We will write down some content to that variable and then we will call the write method to write down the same content in the file. So what is the syntax of write method? Same, but here first you need to understand, or first you need to create the variable for that. So for write, suppose I am taking one string, right? In this string, suppose I have taken one string value which is programming. This is only one string. You can write down the complete paragraph or line, whatever you want. You can write down that line, that will be considered and stored in the string variable. Then, assuming that you have already created the file object, how you are calling the write method? Here file object, you can use the file object with dot operator, write method, and here you are just placing the content str. So what you have done, you have created the file object first by opening the file. After opening the file, in that file object, you are getting the access to the file. So file object dot operator, write method, and string. Programming will be written, programming word will be written to the file, and before that the file should be opened with the file object. And write lines, the same concept, the same syntax. Here L is the list of the lines, right? List is the data structure which has the sequence of line, sequence of what you can say sentences or paragraph will be there. So those lines will be saved in your list, and that will be taken as an argument value, and then you are calling the write line method using the file object. So all the lines will be taken and then it will be written to the file. So here also the syntax is very simple, same as your read function. We'll consider one example for that using the write and write lines. So here first I am going to open the file. For that I need to create the file object. So my file object name is my object. My object is equal to open the file. Now here the file must be exist in your computer, that is okay. You are just importing that file, you are opening that file. Here give the file name. My file name is the file1 file1.txt. okay, don't forget the extension, don't forget the single or double quote comma. Now you are writing to the file, so the file must be opened with the W mode, in single or double quote W mode, W or append mode, write or append mode. So here I am opening the file with the write mode, so W will be there, your object is created. Then just create one string, right, to write down the content. Now here my string is welcome to file handling. This one line is my text string. This line is stored in your str. Now your data is ready, your object is ready. Now how to write this line to your file? Then my object, you need to call the write function. So my object dot operator, then write method. In that write method str, that is the string. So this string you are writing to the file object, my object, so automatically the content will be written. So we are assuming that welcome to file handling, this sentence is written down in the file 1.txt, and then you can just close the file using file object dot operator and close method. So your file will be closed. Now here, as we discussed in the last session, that if you are opening the file in the write mode, so suppose this is your file, this is your file1.txt, this is your file which is already exists in your computer, and in this suppose one line is there, hello world. This is the most common line when we are learning the new language. Hello world is the line which is already written in file1.txt before writing this program. So if we are opening the file in write mode, then what happened, that this whatever content is already exist in the file will be removed, will be erased completely, and then the new content will be written. Welcome to file handle. So what happened here? Previous content, no matter how big the content is, that will be completely erased, and your new content will be written down. You will replace the old content with your new content, right? So this is for W. Suppose I want to keep the existing content, whichever content is already there, I want to keep it, and then I want to write the new content to the file. Then what will I do? Instead of W, I will use A, append mode. That means I am appending the new content to the file. So here, if I am opening the file, same file with the append mode, then the previous data, which is your hello world, will be taken as it is. I am not touching that data. My writing, the new content will be written from the next pointer, will be from the next line. So hello world will be as it is, and we are appending the new content to the existing content. That's why append mode is there. So it's totally up to you. If you want to write down the completely new file by erasing the all old content, then you can open the content or open the file using write mode. But if you want to keep the existing content as it is in the file, then you must use the append mode to open the file. And another difference between read and write and append is suppose if this file is not exist, this file does not exist in your computer system, and if you try to open the file using W or A mode, then this file will be automatically created as a blank file. Then you can write down the new content to the file. So this is about the write method to write the content to the text file. Now write lines. So write lines here, this argument value L, this is not string, this is list of the lines. List is one of the data structure in Python which we are going to see in further session. But for now, I can tell you that instead of string, instead of this single line, list is the sequence of elements, sequence of string in particular format or in pattern. So that list will be considered write lines. So same thing, instead of string, we are considering the list, and here we are calling the write lines method, write lines, and whatever list we have created here with some content, that list will be considered as the argument value which we are going to write. So the same function will be done either the string or list. You can write down first, load the content to any data structure, string or list, and then just copy the content using write or write lines method to the file. So in today's session we have covered the text file, the two process, reading from the file and writing to the file. text file. For reading, we have learned the 3 methods. For writing, we have learned the 2 methods. And in the next session, we will start with the binary file, which is little bit trickier than the text file. So it will take much time. And after completing this session, then we can take some examples to understand the file handling much better. So for that, we'll meet in the next session. Thank you.